From a full-blown breach rework with its own passive tree to Foulborn Uniques that have new and interesting modifiers on them, and even 10 whole new Ascendancies that every class and every build can utilize, patch 3.27 Keepers of the Flame is looking to be very fun. While the patch notes themselves are very short and only about 30 minutes long, honestly, I feel like this is going to have more content in it than 3.26, and that's saying something given that was meant to be an expansion season. From new interesting content to interact with, to new crafting methods, and a massive meta shakeup, I think that this season is going to have something for everyone. So in this video, let's go over everything really quickly and catch you up to date with all the news. So like I mentioned, Breach is getting a full-blown rework. At its core, it's going to work exactly the same way it worked before. Just touch the breach, kill the monsters, get loot. But they are going to add so much more content to it that honestly looks really fun to play with. The main thing here is going to be the Genisis Tree. This is going to be a new passive tree specifically dedicated to breach that is going to allow you to literally birth items into existence of your choosing. The biggest point to make here is the player power we're going to gain through Grafts, which are hands that are going to literally attach to your character. These are going to give you some passive stats that just make your character stronger and are meant to be about as strong as mercenaries to make up for the power loss of losing them. These will all have interesting skills on them, with some of them being passive, just triggering automatically, such as a defensive skill when you get low, while others just being actual new skills for you to press that are going to be pretty damn strong. These are not going to be affected by anything on your character, whether it's your gear, your passive tree, or anything like that. So all these skills are allowed to be very broken and their tooltips are quite silly. GG did mention in the interview that they want these to be strong all the way up until endgame, but they do expect you to eventually just completely outgear them and to not be relevant. But that does sound like leveling with these and going through the early maps should be significantly easier. The Genisis Tree is also going to offer some really interesting new crafting opportunities with the new resource for the season, Craft Blood. This is just going to be something that you get alongside breach splinters as you go through your breaches, and this can be used to pick up certain points of the passive tree to change how the birthing is going to work. The main takeaway here is going to be the crafting components of it, because this is going to allow for some silly item crafting, probably akin to how broken Acropolis was. In the top left, we have all the gear nodes, and while this might look like a pretty big tree to you, you don't actually want to take everything at once, and you are going to want to tailor it to whatever crafting project you want to make. The premises of this is you just take your Graft Blood, shove it in the womb, and it's going to give you an item. But you can pick up points on the tree to force the game to give you a more desirable outcome. So for example, let's say I want to farm myself a new pair of boots. Well, let's say this node here gives me a 100% increased chance that the outcome is going to be a pair of boots. Let's say I want a intelligence pair of boots with a big movement speed roll and a lot of energy shield on it. So I can pick up this node to make it significantly more likely it's going to be an int base, this node to make it more likely that it's going to have energy shield mods on it, and then this node over here to make it more likely for a speed mod. This is going to be super fun for crafting, and I think that it's going to allow you to get some pretty disgusting early game power. And even if you're not interested in any of that and you don't want to craft anything, you just want to buy everything, well, you also have the currency womb, which just allows you to just farm raw currency. This also has a new Foulborn currency attached to it that allows you to roll your Grafts further into exactly what you want them to be. And there's going to be new powerful versions of Exalted, Regal, and Augmentation Orbs, culling the bottom mods off of stuff, so hitting good slams becomes even easier. The final thing about this is going to be the new Foulborn Uniques that are going to be craftable with the unique portion of the tree. These are all going to be unique items that have a little bit of a twist on it. For example, with the Red Dream, instead of it giving you block chance, it now gives you % max life. And if you put this on the left side of the Marauder tree, well, this can give you 112% increased life, which is quite silly. They said that pretty much everything, with the exception of boss uniques, is part of this table, so we can expect a Foulborn Mage Blood to make it so unique flasks now apply to you. I am super excited for this, and I think you're going to see some very broken builds with Foulborn Uniques, and I'm excited to see what people cook with this. Overall, Breach is looking super solid. At the core of it, well, just enjoy killing a lot of monsters per map that you do. To add on to all of this, we are now also getting 10 new unique Ascendancy classes for you to choose for whatever build you're playing. These are going to be called Bloodborne Ascendancies, and to unlock them, you have to kill the respective boss that is going to be tied to them. For example, if you want the King in the Mist Ascendancy, you have to go kill King in the Mist to get access to it. These are not going to be full-blown Ascendancy swaps, but instead, they're going to be something that's going to go along with whatever your current class and Ascendancy are, and you do not need to actually pick up anything in them if you don't want them. These are going to require you to spend your Ascendancy points to pick up the nodes on them, so it's not just free power, and you do have to consider the upsides and downsides of whatever you're going for. As I mentioned, all 10 of these are available for whatever build you're playing, so it's not like the new cool Chaos one is only tied to Templar or something. These nodes are looking to be pretty powerful, but unfortunately we don't have all the information on them yet, and they're going to slowly be released over next week, which I personally kind of hate, but hey, whatever. It's going to be pretty fun to play with them, and swapping around is not going to be too difficult once we get into the game. Don't plan to make your build around this on day one, because again, you have to kill pinnacle bosses to get access to these, but it is going to be pretty fun to try and make a build that can then go swap into whatever interesting thing you want to do with them. These are going to all have pretty interesting mods, and from the ones that they showed us so far, yeah, I can believe it. For example, with King of the Mist, you can just get yourself an extra ring slot. You do have to either sacrifice an amulet, your potions, or a belt, but well, if you care about a ring slot, that's pretty powerful. You also get access to Unlit Silhouettes, which is literally just Archmage but for life skills. This should be pretty fun to play around with, and I've already tried cooking a little bit with this. To move on to a few more interesting pieces of information about the season, we are getting Uber versions of the bosses that came out in 3.26 with their own new uniques. They didn't really show anything interesting here, but hey, I'm sure something will come out of it, kind of like Misc came from Uber Exarch. And as always, we're getting a few new skills, with the majority of the emphasis here being put on the new wanding skills, which are looking quite insane. I'm really looking forward to them, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to be starting a wander this season, and it should be quite fun to play around with them. If you're a bow enjoyer instead, the bow skills are really cool. You can shoot tornadoes everywhere. You have like big fire explosions. They kind of cooked on them, and I think they're going to be pretty fun. Lastly, I want to go over the patch notes really quickly and just to talk about some of the major points here. And well, it's going to be pretty quick because the patch notes, like I said, were pretty short. They didn't really change much about skills. They did basically completely kill Bama, Volcanic Fissure, and both Poisonous and Explosive Concoction, but outside of that, pretty much everything else just received a small buff. The main one to really mention here that's going to be really cool is Volatile Dead, which just got buffed by 25%. They increased the effectiveness of added damage on it, and they buffed Spellslinger to give you even more damage. When you pair all this up with the Spellslinger changes that they did last season, I think Volatile Dead spellslinging might actually be back as a meta starter. Pretty exciting news, and we'll see if anyone decides to pick up on it. They brought all the Thartarus gems back from last season, and they're now going to be in Heist, and they pretty much buffed all of them because most of them were pretty much underperforming. I don't really think out of all the skills that they buffed that you're going to really see any of these skills necessarily be played. It's more so of if you like the skills, well, they're slightly better, kind of like how Cyclone got a 20% buff. So if you already played Cyclone, you're going to play Cyclone and have a little bit more fun. But if you didn't play Cyclone before, you're not necessarily going to be missing out on anything. It's not like it's going to suddenly become super meta. In terms of Ascendancy changes, they buffed a bunch of Ascendancies here and there. There really isn't much to say about it. They're all just very minor buffs to points that people didn't really take. With the only real takeaways here is that they nerfed the Elementalist Golem node by 50%, and Trickster received a bunch of small nerfs. Overall, I still think Elementalist and Trickster are going to be very, very strong, and you're going to see quite a lot of people playing them, either as starters or as second or third builds, and nothing is going to really change when it comes to that. I think the majority of the meta shakeup is going to come from the new Bloodline Ascendancies, and I really hope that these actually do change the game around. I hope we see a bunch of new skills that people didn't really play before become super meta. They did also fully rework Assassin this season, which I am going to have a whole second video that's going to come out today discussing it. And the takeaway here is that it's nothing really special, and I kind of wish they did a little bit more with it. Outside of that, there's a bunch of miscellaneous changes, just like always, a few unique item changes, a few new support changes and whatnot. But the only other thing to really mention is that most of the high-end strats kind of got nerfed. They completely got rid of the Horde's Abyss strategy. They completely killed Gigantic Rogue Exiles. They killed the Alva Evolution Scarab strats, and across the board nerfed map modifier effects, and you can only have one risk scarab at any time now, which I honestly really like as a change because stacking map modifier effect was not really a fun way to juice, as it just made everything more painful. Obviously, new farming strats are going to come out this season to make up for all the broken farming strats that we lost, so realistically, just pick something that already was good for week one, do that, and wait for people to cook something, and we'll have just as much fun as we did before. There's been plenty of times where overpowered farming strats got nerfed and got completely removed, everyone doomed, but we always found new ways and we always persevered. Anyways, that's pretty much everything that's coming with 3.27. The majority of it is all in the new Ascendancies and the Breach rework, which honestly, kind of looking forward to. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with all this, and if you want to see any of the theory crafting we're gonna be doing leading up to launch, I stream on Twitch every single day, so feel free to come by, ask me any questions, or just come and do some community theory crafting with us for whatever interesting stuff we might come up with. You're always more than free, just come by and be a part of our community, either on Discord or on Twitch, so if you want a place to hang out, I'll be more than happy to see you there as well. With all that said, kitties, I hope you're looking forward to 3.27 as much as I am. I was kind of jaded about it and wasn't really looking forward to it, but well, when they show me 10 new Ascendancies, I gotta be excited, and it should be a pretty fun time. Hope you kitties have a wonderful rest of the day. I'll see you all in the next video.